Hey guys, it's Amber Rain Davis and I'm back for WOW embossing powder with a technique that is not new, but it's new to me. This is my first time doing a video on this technique. So we're going to be doing some embossing with water, and what I found is it created this really cool crackle effect to the heat embossing. So I have some water here and I'm dipping my brush into it. Now this is a natural hair brush. It's a squirrel hair mop brush, so it holds a lot of water. I wanted to have a good amount of water on there, and I don't know if that's what really contributed to this crackle effect. I tested this out twice just to see if I could reproduce it, and it crackled both times. So I don't have pools of water on the surface, but it's quite a bit of water. And so now I have the WOW Love is the Drug embossing powder, and this is from the Ferry Man trio. I used Angel Eyes, which is in this set on my last video, and I'm just going to sprinkle this on, and you can see that it's adhering to the water that we have on there. So I kind of just did like a, watercolor brushstroke splat, if you will, and I think it looks really nice if you have those uneven edges, and even if you leave a little bit more white space in between your strokes. So mine is, even though the edges are rough, it's still pretty uniform. I think I would have liked it better if that white would have come a little further into the center. So maybe think about that when you're doing yours. So I've preheated my dual heat tool here from WOW, and I'm heating the back first. Now this powder is good and adhered to the paper, and this is watercolor paper. It's Saunders Waterford hot press paper, so it's a very smooth surface. And so I've preheated it from the back, and you can see how it's crackling. I mean, it's just like, and I think it's because the amount of water that I've used. Instead of using the clear embossing ink, it just is reacting with the water to create this crackle effect. Now, Love is the Drug is a transparent embossing powder, and the second time that I tested this out, I actually did it on watercolor paper and also on a metallic cardstock, and they both worked well. I also used a translucent powder that time, and it crackled on both of those papers as well. So there you can see how that looks, and I just think it's really cool. It kind of reminds me of that shabby chic look from like a million years ago. Maybe that's still on trend, I'm not sure, but the crackle paint, like when that was on trend. So here I have some dies from Altenew. I'll have all of the products that I use listed down below. But I'm taking these two dies and I'm just aligning them, so I kind of fiddle around with it a little bit to align them. So what's in the center there are some hearts, some small hearts, kind of like heart confetti, and then of course we have the large heart. So this is going to create a 2-card set, which I love. Anytime you can have a 2-for set, I'm all for it. I love to create 2 cards out of one panel. And so I'm just going to gently pull off my purple tape. And what's nice when you emboss, when you die cut an embossed panel, it sticks into the die really well. I mean, it's pretty easy to get out, but you can see all of my heart stayed in the die, which is exactly what I wanted, because I want to be able to fit this back into here and glue all of those little hearts down to my cardstock. So I've put some foam tape on the back of my watercolor panel so that I could pop it up on an A2 size piece of Neenah, and then I've taken Ranger multimedia matte glue and put it on the backs of all of those hearts. So I kept my 2 dies together so that I could keep everything lined up. But now, because the center die is connected to the other die and that panel's popped up, it's not touching the paper. So I'm going to go ahead and remove the outer die. And then I'm going to use my craft pick. This one is from Holtz, Tonic Tim Holtz. And I'm just going to push those hearts down so that they adhere to the paper. And I'm going to go really slowly with this, dot by dot, so that I can get all of the hearts glued down in the correct orientation. If they're a little bit off, that's not a big deal, but I didn't want to have to fiddle with, is this, I didn't want it to go sideways, I guess is what I'm getting at. So I just went really slowly until all of them were connected. There was one that I missed, so I went back and put that back in. And so then I have this other heart, which is super cute too. So I popped that one up with some foam squares instead of foam tape because that's easier to get in between all of those little hearts. I'm just going to grab a sentiment from, I think this set was called All the Hearts, but I'll have the specific product listed down below. And then I used a sentiment from the sentiment strips, also from Altenew. And then I went ahead and embossed a little bit more on another piece of watercolor paper so that I could die cut a few more hearts. Instead of using sequins or a different embellishment, I wanted to scatter some of these hearts around because I thought that would be nicer than introducing another embellishment. And so these are also crackled as well. So it's the same kind of finish and the same embossing powder. So here are the finished cards, and I added a couple close-ups so you could really see how that crackle texture turned out. And I think it's just a really fun technique, so definitely something I encourage you to give a try. If you do, be sure to tag us at Wow Embossing. We would love to see your projects. And be sure to enter your cards in the challenge. We do a monthly challenge on our Facebook group, which is Wow EP Fans on Facebook. I will be back soon with more inspiration. Be sure to subscribe down below if you haven't already, and I'll see you real soon. Thanks for stopping by.